All right, so I'm sorry I got started on this a little bit late. It's already like almost done with the month, and this is just the first devlog that's coming out for the first game. The first game I started on the 6th, and then started with coding and actually project building on the 8th. Um, as you saw me there for a little bit, I was just getting a little bit organized, trying to make a couple folders to hold things. I'm still not the best at organization, but I find that I'm better than I used to be, so that's encouraging. So the methodology behind this game that I was trying to do was having a like playable game, like a vertical slice of like a full larger game, ready as soon as possible. So in this, that's like my main goal for a lot of this. So right here, I'm making a main menu manager. I kind of wanted to just make it simple to start with, where it just gets the game started as fast as possible, and I'll go modify it back later when it needs to be more complicated. I created a game manager, and I'm spawning that upon pressing the start button. Um, I ended up having some. I had a little bit of trouble with this project because I chose to start off with a lot of dark work right away. So this is a lot of this code. I've been coding like this is like 8 times speed. So I've been coding for like 20 minutes and I haven't seen anything yet. Whereas a lot of my other projects, I always tried to get something on the screen like as soon as possible. But I'm trying to work through it. I didn't do too much dark work. A lot of this video is going to be my starting work of just getting the game to load and just getting it in a way that hopefully I can expand and increase later. So the goal of this game, at least the part that we're working on right now, is I wanted to make it where you can just press start and it'll load you into the latest level you were playing, and then uh, you will then be able to go back to the main menu at any time, and you can click the level select option, and it'll show all the levels that you've beaten so far, and then lock all the ones that you haven't beaten yet, and you can click any of them to load into that level and play from there if you wanted to. So I just have a little start game function. The game manager has the current level index, so it's like an ID for whatever level we've chosen. And I made a simple loop in the update function that when that boolean, the can change level boolean gets set to true, it will load that level. So the way that things access it is they change the current level index and then they click can change to true. I also create a function in a little bit that allows me to just very simply say go to next level, and it does that on its own. So the way that I had this designed, you have the main menu. When you're in the main menu, it just has the main menu objects just sitting there, and when you click start, it it creates a game manager object, and then the game manager object gets set to do not destroy, and then it changes scenes to the main game. Once the game manager has seen that it's gone to the main game, it then chooses a level from the list of another non-destroyable object, the level select list, the level list, which I don't think we've gotten to that part yet. But see, I'm building levels here. They were going to be grid tile map based, and the idea is that the level object will be a prefab, and that will be saved. And so because it's saved, then like as an object, then I can modify a bunch of them, save them as prefab variants, and then just say, hey, this list is a list of levels. And then all of my math is based on the length of that list, and any of my loading is checked based on the length of that list. And then you're going to be able to just click the level, click the level like button, and then it'll tell it, hey, at this index, go to that level, and then it'll go. So that's how it's going to be set up. Currently, I just set up a level and I set up the level list. So when you drop it in there right now, it's just got a dot on it. It doesn't really have anything going on. It's going to have the grid and a tile map, which I had a really hard time with. I think we're about to encounter that. This whole middle section I was having trouble because I haven't worked with tile maps much, and there's some weirdness with like making sure that it scales correctly with your pixel tiles and stuff. So I was trying to make it fit the screen perfectly so that we can have exactly one screen. So yeah, I'm over here messing with like the cell sizes and stuff. I think there's a part in here I finally had to look it up. This whole middle section might be kind of excruciating. But yeah, so this project's been pretty fun so far. I made a lot of progress very quickly. I I I've been having to mess with my schedule lately, and I found that uh, with as much work that I have to get done, like at work, and then when I get home, uh, I don't have as much time for game dev as I would like. So all of this was done probably in a day and a half, 2 days, and I really probably should have worked on it more. But since I was having trouble of my own, I didn't get to work on it much. But I got a lot done in those just couple of days. Yeah, so here I am trying to figure out the pixel snap. I was watching videos on how their tiles are set up and stuff. These are temporary tiles that I've got here currently. I that's another little bit of news for anybody who actually cares to watch these. They're pretty bad, so I don't blame you. But anybody who cares to watch these, one thing that I've updated, I've released my first Music Monday video, and I have taken a good long look at my schedule. Okay, so you can see I figured it out. Now they tile correctly, I think, so it fits the screen. Well, maybe it fits the screen. It might be kind of too small. But I started that Music Monday thing, and then I'm kind of looking at everything, and I'm realizing that 3 videos a week is not going to be feasible for my long-term goals. So I'm going to cut back and just do 2 videos. I'm going to cut out the music video. I don't think it's that helpful. I don't think it's that informative, and I already do it on my own anyway. So it's not like I'm improving myself in that aspect. So I'm just going to go ahead and discontinue Music Monday. I'm going to keep a video once a week for game-related talks, like what just went up on Friday. And then I'm going to keep some sort of devlog where I show what I did the last week or so. Um, but yeah, it was just a little too much between that and any other hobbies, or not even hobbies, any other things that I'm trying to get done as life goals. I found that I was getting really disappointed and bummed out because I was working too much on a couple things that didn't matter quite as much, and not getting to work on the things that matter. So I've restructured my life, and it's more of an importance based thing. And so I sat down with myself, and I talked through some important points. I find that sometimes almost doing like a therapy session with yourself kind of helps, like for priorities. So for me, my 2 most important things are game development and my girlfriend. Music is not on the top list. It's way further down. So I figured, well, I'll focus more time towards game dev, since, it just wasn't working out, focusing on the wrong things. So here I was working on different tile maps. I created a couple different like sample ones. Oh, I'm over here troubleshooting why it won't destroy itself correctly. Um, I don't remember what the reason for this was. I think it was trying to destroy a level that wasn't on the list. Sometimes I end up having trouble with these. I'm still definitely a novice, even if I'm far better than I used to be. I'm getting used to all this stuff. I'm participating in the Wowie Game Jam. That video will be up soon if you see this. Um, I'm going to record the process. I'm doing it with a couple friends. They're not really super game dev inclined, so I think I'll be leading the project, and they'll do whatever they can do on the sides. Um, but yeah, so now we've got a level object, a level list that holds the levels. The level list gets created on the main menu screen, and then it carries over into the main game. So you can't really run the game from the main game. You have to run it from the main menu and click start. So I took a sample square for the character. So okay, so that's what it is. Now we're creating the character. I took a little sample square that I had. It's like a 32 by 32 graphic for the player, and I gave them some hitboxes. The biggest thing that I would say for anybody who's starting out, who's really looking to get into this stuff, is it's really not that bad. One of the biggest things that helped me mentally and kind of to understand how things would work, I always had a lot of issues with things not interacting correctly, or things being really complicated to figure out, and I just didn't understand why. One of the biggest things that helped me was split your object into multiple game objects. So as you can see, I've got the player as a main object, and then I have a sprite. So that's just his graphic. It's completely separate, and it's a child to the player object. Then I have their hitbox. That helps calculate damage and stuff far easier than trying to put 2 different hitboxes on the same character and trying to read, is it a trigger or is it a collision? It makes it simpler. You have to create separate objects, unfortunately. So I had to create a player hitbox sprite, or player hitbox C# script, and I had to create a player movement script for moving the character. I also like to have a player main, and that can handle things like damage and all that kind of stuff. But those are attached to the same player object. And then underneath that player, I also had I don't think I've gotten to it yet, but I did a foot trigger so that when they jump, it'll be easier to tell. So then, as you saw me there, I would definitely advise using the newer control scheme, the input system. It's a lot more complicated to figure out to start with, and I still use the old one for like quick debugging things. But when you're if you can get started with this, it makes it so much easier because I can have keyboard movement, and then as you saw there, I added gamepad movement, and I did it in like a half a second, and I don't even have a gamepad plugged in. So if I wanted to test it out, I just got to go get one, plug it in, and then boom, it works because they work on very like generic versions and structures and stuff. So they're looking for a vector too. They don't care. The input doesn't care where it's coming from. You can create a composite one using the keyboard, so it has W for up, S, A and D, but then you could even just have an analog stick. So now I'm getting the player to be able to move. I was having some weirdness because I forgot to enable the input system. When you get the new input system, you have to go in and create like it's almost kind of like accepting the control scheme. I still don't really know what it's about. And then of course there's me listening to music and stuff. Oh yeah, and then I didn't lock down the rotation, so the character was bouncing all over the place when I was trying to run. But yes, now the player is mostly done. I'm hoping that I get it done in this video. I don't remember. I think I might not have recorded the final bit. I hope I did. Either way, okay, I did. Okay, I got the player jumping. The player could jump infinitely at this point. I was trying to make it so that the jumping would happen where if you jump just a little bit, you jump a very short height, and then if you jump a lot, you jump even higher, because I like that kind of platformer better. But it ends up being a little more complicated than just adding a force. All right, well, if you enjoyed watching this, I'll be coming out with another one. It should hopefully should be better than just a voiceover, but this was the first one, and I'm trying to figure out these formats. So that was the first week or so of progress. It's not that much progress, but like I said, I only got to work like a week or like a day or two this week, and that was actually way more progress than I used to get done in that kind of time frame. So this next week I've done a lot more. The game, will be getting towards being completed. That's my goals, is to get the game towards being like a finished where you can play from beginning to end. But then I have to go in and create levels, add sprites, add polish and stuff like that. And then I wanted to even maybe delve into a little bit of low-level marketing to see if I could get even more people to play it. So if you enjoyed that video, then I'd like it if you'd hit subscribe. That would be great. I'll be doing this journey all the way until at least into next year. So if you want to see how I develop as a game developer, or if you're on a journey yourself of game developing, especially as a hobby kind of thing, I want to make this a full-time thing eventually, but what I realized is that a lot of people, including myself, just think that like one day you'll get better at something magically, or that because I'm not great at it to start with, therefore I'll never be good at it. But and those are doubts inside your own head. So I would encourage anybody to jump on this journey and just build as many games as you think you can make, just like 1-month prototypes. I wouldn't go too far past a month, because you start getting to the point where you hate your old self because you knew so much less. I found with that Santa and the Spider Queen game, by the time I got to the end of that project, I was so much better than at the beginning that I was like, what am I doing? Why did I do things like this? So I would encourage 1-month projects, maybe even just game jam projects. That would work too. But game jams can be a little stressful. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.